Today on Steelers Talk, I am breaking down my list of all the most likely Steelers players currently slated to be on the 2025 Steelers roster that I think are most likely going to get cut this offseason to save this team some cap space and get themselves ready for potential moves like big trades, free agency, all these different things. So really do appreciate you guys stopping by today. Make sure you guys get down there in the comment section and let me know which Steeler will surprisingly not be on the team this offseason. All right, could it be George Pickens getting traded? Could it be Justin Fields not being brought back? Which surprising Steeler won't be on the team in 2025? Let me know down there in the comment section. Can't wait to see your thoughts. All right, so let's start here. This is our starting point, okay? So according to Over the Cap, the Steelers currently have $52,353,766 to work with their 2025 cap, and that's before cuts, that's before restructures. So that's already a pretty decent chunk of change, and that thing is only going to keep getting bigger and bigger as the Steelers make these money moves here this offseason. So let's start with the first cut candidate here, and this one's the most obvious. Preston Smith, the guy you traded for from Green Bay. If you cut him, $0 in dead cap, and you save $13.4 million. Now, Preston had a pretty decent season here in Pittsburgh. He came up with some big sacks and some timely moments. I think he was a really good rotational guy, but his cap hit is just too high, guys, and you can save too much money by letting him go. So I think this one's a no-brainer. Preston Smith is going to be cut. Now, that doesn't mean the Steelers can't bring him back at a lower contract number and be a fourth rotational edge rusher again. They're just not going to be paying him $13.4 against the cap. Another player that could potentially be hitting the bricks is Larry Ogunjobi. Now, Larry O's been here for a little while now. You can save $7 million if you end up cutting him. Now, the thing about Pittsburgh is that I think that they like Larry O, and if they can afford to keep him, I think that they might. All right, like Larry O is the 5 technique in this system. He's by far the worst, defensive lineman on the Steelers. I mean, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benson, Alex Highsmith, T.J. Watt. It's not even close. Larry O is not in the same universe as those guys, in my opinion. And you take a look at his stats throughout the years, and, they've been pretty lackluster, all right? Let's be honest here, all right? Is this worth, not having $7 million in cap savings this year over? I mean, just 1.5 sacks this year in 15 games played, just 7 quarterback hits. Ogunjobi back in his day was pretty decent. I mean, back in 2021, 7 sacks as an interior pass rusher, 12 tackles for loss, but his numbers have been dipping as of late, and I think that the Steelers can really refresh at this position at the 3-4 defensive end and make this defensive line even more fearsome. Make the call for me down there in the comments section. Would you cut Larry Ogunjobi to save $7 million this offseason? Type C if you would cut him, or type K if you would keep him. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Fume. While I'm talking about Fume, go down there, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section, and answer today's question. And let me ask you guys a question here. Have you ever caught yourself reaching for a bad habit? Maybe it's that moment when you're with friends and you just want to feel like you fit in. Well, that's where Fume comes in. It's not about quitting. It's about finding a better alternative. Fume, the sponsor of today's video, has created an innovative flavored air device that's perfect for those moments when you want to break away from bad habits and still have something enjoyable to reach for. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that draws flavor to your mouth, not your lungs. It's a great way to satisfy your oral fixation with non-toxic flavors, free from nicotine or vapor, and it's safe to use anywhere. Fume's design is also about more than just flavor. It's an awesome fidget tool with magnets and clicks that help calm anxiety. You'll love how Fume feels because it's got premium quality, sleek design, and perfect for taking with you on the go. Physiology shows stopping a bad habit of cold turkey is very hard on your brain. Fume works by replacing your hand-to-mouth fixation, calming nervous tension through fidgeting, and distracting you from your bad habit with delicious flavor. Fume is also backed by doctors in the U.S. and continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today, and if you order your Journey Pack now using my code CHATSPORTS, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen, and a big thank you to Fume for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. Third cut candidate here, Cole Holcomb, and this one kills me, man, because, the golden mullet, the mullet in the middle, whatever you want to call him, man, and, it wasn't his fault. He got injured in the middle of the 2023 season, didn't play at all here in 2024, but you can save $6 million by letting him go, and I'm just not sure if those potential cap savings is worth passing on for somebody that hasn't played football in over a year and is coming off a very major knee injury. Like, if they want to bring him back on a more team-friendly deal, I'm all for that. I think that, he's a good team guy, works hard, he's a good locker room dude. And this one really does kill me, but this is a business, guys, and I think the Steelers could use that $6 million in additional cap space. Cordarrelle Patterson, let's just face it, guys, he's not the dynamic player he used to be. He was brought in to be a dynamic kick return man. He was far from that, in my opinion. And you can save $2.8 million by letting him go. I just don't really see the value of keeping Cordarrelle Patterson around. He wasn't really a good kickoff return man this year, and he had a couple decent runs, but it's not like he was a big-time third running back that was awesome this year. So I just don't think he's a dynamic player anymore. I think he's getting older. I think he's honestly getting a bit fatter, and I think that it's time to let go of Cordarrelle Patterson and really refresh this running back room. Then the final cut candidate that I want to talk about today in terms of the big names, Cameron Johnston. This is another guy that, it's not his fault, right? He got injured on week 1, and, they had to turn to Corliss Waitman for the rest of the season. But you can save $1.5 million here by letting him go. You could save even more than that if you make this a post-June 1st cut. And Corliss Waitman is less expensive than Johnston is, but he also had a really, really good season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I think Waitman is good enough as a punter where you bring him back as the guy next year, and you're spending less money on a special teams position. You can spend more of your money on offense, on defense, and on things that are not special teams, right? So I think Johnston's a really good punter, but coming off of that really gruesome injury, I think there's a question mark as to just how good he's going to be moving forward, whereas we know Corliss Waitman can get the job done, and he's the cheaper option. So pick your punter down there in the comment section. I can't believe I'm doing this question, but let's do it, man. Cameron Johnston, type CJ if you want Johnston back and you want him to get his shot. I mean, he looks like Bill Burr, man. That's just, I kind of want a season of Cameron Johnston as the punter, but I also really like what Corliss Waitman did this year. Type CW down there in the comment section for Corliss. Some other potential cuts. These guys, it's not as much savings, but, if you want to save a little bit more dough here and there to afford all the moves you want to make, Montravius Adams is a backup nose tackle at this point. You can save $2.2 million by letting him go. He's a really good culture guy, really plays with great effort. So I think, the Steelers might try to keep him as a backup nose tackle if they can. Mark Robinson, he's a backup kind of like special teams type player. But you can save 1.1 by letting him go. Connor Hayward the same way. I don't think they're going to let go of Captain Cam's brother. I think they're going to keep him around. But you can save 1.1 by letting him go. And then DeMarvin Leal, he had a really bad injury this year. You can save $1.4 million. It's been a big disappointment since this team drafted him. And honestly, I think I'd probably think about letting him go as well. So with our cuts here, depending on which players you want to cut and which ones you don't, I think that the Steelers could get anywhere between $76 and $89 million in available cap space for the 2025 offseason to use on their free agents, to use on trades, to use on their draft picks, all these different things. And, it's going to come down to what Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin value here in these players that we talked about today and which ones they want on this roster for 2025. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we're going to have you covered for every single cut, every single signing, every single trade, every single draft pick. We're going to have you covered with breaking news coverage right here on Steelers Talk. If you made it to the end of today's video, make sure you type real one down there in the comment section. I want to give a big thank you to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Scan the QR code on the screen right now and use code CHATSPORTS to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today.